What's up, Capoeira Nation? Thank you so much for coming back for the second part of the interview with Professor Malandro from Filhos de Bimba. Thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much. If you didn't listen to the first part, go back to the episode 63 and listen to that episode, which is the first part of this part, and come back to this. If you are here, if you came back for the second part, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoy. Remember, we talk about on the last episode, we talk about a bunch of stuff for the Capoeira Regional traditions, how Mr. Bimba was teaching, how he set it up batizados. On this second part, we talk about a little bit more of course, of Mr. Bimba, Capoeira Regional, what was the graduations of Mr. Bimba graduation system, what kind of graduation meaning, what was the requirements for each graduation, what do you need to know. Professor Malandro explains a little bit more details of this. He also talks about the charanga. That was the Mr. Bimba way of organize what we call today's days bateria, which is the birimbao or pandero. Sometimes one birimbao, sometimes two pandero, sometimes always one birimbao, sometimes one pandero, sometimes two panderos. And then how Capoeira Regional, how to use the cuadras and cogidos, when and how to sing them. Also, a very, very awesome point on this, which is Banguela and Benguela. We have a previous video about this, but he describes how they work, how the Banguela actually works, how Mr. Bimba characterized Banguela to a specific type of game, and what is the difference with Benguela, and also how Mr. Bimba used to tone his birimbao. It's a really, really cool information right there that I didn't know. I knew on this episode. It was amazing conversation. Thank you so much for listening. Pay attention. Thank you so much for listening to the part number 2. If you make it all the way here, please make sure to subscribe and share with a friend, please, so we can grow and this podcast can reach more people, so more people can learn about all this information we share here. Okay, thank you so much, and let's roll. Bam. The second part will be the continuation of Professor Malandro from all the way from California. And then we were talking about before about the graduation will be we mentioned was blue, red, yellow, and white. And all those that's part of the Capoeira traditions too, right? The Capoeira regional traditions from Mr. Bimba.
And you see the scarf, the silk scarves represent the era of the Malandro.
Okay.
Where they would wear the silk scarves because that would protect from the navalias.
Nice.
From getting, cut. So.
Hard times.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the reason behind why not belts and why scarves. So because it's connected to that era of capoeira.
Okay, which makes a lot of sense, especially in those times. No, that's awesome. And what about the bateria, the birimbao, or what we call bateria? How I heard before where Mr. Bimba used to use one birimbao and two panderos, or sometimes one birimbao and one pandero. How do you learn about those?
Yeah, the charanga, which is the term most used, but charanga and bateria are interchangeable.
Okay.
But we tend to use charanga a little bit more.
Oh, cool.
At the end of every class, we always play capoeira.
Okay.
Generally, it's just to one birimbao, generally. Um, then there's a day of the Hoda where we have one beating bow, two panderos. So the complete charanga is one beating bow, two panderos.
Oh, cool. Okay.
If it's a performance, you always see that. If it's just the training Hoda, towards the end of class, then you might see, you definitely see one beating bow. You may see one pandero, maybe two panderos, depending if also like now in modern times, those students are also kind of practicing how to play and sing with the instruments and things like that. But traditionally, the training Hoda would just be the beating bow, so that and this is also why Master Bimba chose to have just one, because the capoeiristas could tune in. He felt like they should be able to tune in, or easier to tune in, with just one beating bow.
Okay.
And also in Master Bimba's time, there wasn't like, okay, three beating bows for this one beating bow. It was a mixture. Sometimes as you watch like Vagia Sound, there'll be Dança Guerreiro. There'll be 3 or 4 beating bows, or just one beating bow, and then like other instruments. Even with the French documentary of Messi Panchinha, there was only 2 beating bows there. And then it wasn't until Messi Panchinha acquired his academy that eventually it went to 3 beating bows, and then that was the standard for Angola at the time. There wasn't an atabaque in capoeira, because the atabaque and the agogo were instruments of candomblé, which Messi practiced candomblé, so he didn't feel the need to mix the two, or he didn't want to mix the two, either one.
That way there's no any confusion in there, and
also just the misinformation was like, oh, Messi Bimba removed instruments from the bateria. But like, can you imagine like capoeira being outlawed, and you have the atabaque, and you have to take off running and then like lift this thing, and
which makes sense. You gotta run away, and you have this big ass atabaque running with you.
Be that guy. But this is Messi Boca Rica. Messi Boca Rica in Bahia told me about like the beating bow and the atabaque and the agogo weren't a part of capoeira, because they were instruments of candomblé. Then eventually with Messi Panchinha, eventually it got added into what's now the tradition of Angola.
Huh. Yeah. That's so cool. And what else would be another like rituals, what we call rituals inside the capoeira class or capoeira regional in this case?
Yeah. When we have a roda, we always start with a quadra.
Okay.
And go into corridos, so Iune mandingueira, quando tá no bebedouro. Sabida foi ligeira, mas a capoeira matou camará, água de bebê. And also, I don't know why, but in regional, your tone goes down with the response. With Angola, your tone would go up. So, água de bebê, água de bebê, camará. In Angola, be água de bebê, água de bebê, camará.
Okay. Oh, so interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why that came to be, but also in the rodas in general, the quadras and ladainhas were interchangeable. You know what I mean? Here, and then just Messi Bimba just felt like, hey, I feel like this is what I want for my expression of capoeira. And then in response to that, it was like, well, we want this. And even now, some Angola schools also still do some quadras. It was not just like, oh, that's a regional thing.
Okay. And did Mestre Bimba change the ladainha for the quadra?
Yeah, so he specifically chose quadras,
Okay.
Yeah, which is just shorter ladainhas.
Yeah. To only open up the roda, or he had quadras like during the roda, like randomly.
No. This is like you will always start with a quadra, and then go into the corridos, also seen now, and then when he's doing the corridos, then that's when you start to play. And then only corridos while people are playing. So you wouldn't have 2 people playing, and then all of a sudden he would go into another quadra.
Okay.
Quadras are only at the beginning to open up.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense. And there's also like a misunderstanding in the capoeira community of the benguela and banguela, which I have an episode with some friends talking about this, where like there's a misconception of which one is which one, and the pronunciation of the Banguela and Benguela. What are your thoughts about that?
For Capoeira Regional with Mestre Bimba, it's Banguela.
Okay.
And the rhythm goes, it's similar to Angola, but just like one chiado, one ch. So it goes ch don ding, ch don ding don ding don ding don ding. And then, you know, Angola's a ch don ding. Also, there's Banguela dobrada, which is not necessarily a separate rhythm. This is with Mestre Bimba. It's not a separate rhythm, but just a certain part of Banguela will have this variation as far as like the dobradas, you know, which is ch don ding ding, ch don ding ding, ch don ding don ding don ding don ding ding. So Benguela, which came along, which I could be from my sources. That's what I want to say. Yeah. From my understanding, from my sources, it came along with Mestre Camisa.
100%. Yeah, that's what I know too.
Which is a mixture of Angola and Banguela dobrada. Together, you know, because some people are like, oh, you know, Mestre Bimba meant to say Benguela because Benguela is a place in Angola, but Mestre Bimba was illiterate, so his knowledge of geography would be super limited, let alone outside the country of Brazil and his knowledge of the continent of Africa, you know?
Yeah.
But for Capoeira Regional, it's Banguela, and then the rhythm I said earlier. And then for Contemporânea is Benguela.
Yeah.
With Banguela, that is the rhythm. It's more, I guess the easy way to describe it would be like it's Regional's Angola. Like the movements that we do are are in contact with the ground a little bit more. There's less less standing and more like contact with the ground. So Meio de Compasso, more rolês, more aus, more movements with queda de rins, anything that keeps your hands closer in contact with the ground. Although in Regional, we don't practice any movements where your head goes on the floor.
Okay.
Putting your head on the floor is something that happened fairly recently with, to my knowledge, Mestre João Grande. Because if you watch him playing the old school footage of him playing Mestre João Pequeno with their shirts off, João Grande is the only one who does like the head spins and things like that. So he was the one that kind of like on cobblestone, no less, you know,
man,
with no hat or anything like that. So
my God, yeah.
He's the one that kind of like innovated those types of movements that Cordal Gioro also does a lot with their bendy stuff. So before that, like people weren't putting their head on the floor. So in our school, we don't practice any movements that require you to put your head on the floor. Okay.
I know that it can go different ways, right? So I know that on times before they didn't put their hand on the ground because they were wearing the white hat. So of course they're gonna get it dirty. And on the other side that I also know is they wouldn't put their head on the ground because the candomblé. And then candomblé, they have the crown and of course the crown you don't put on the ground because it's just disrespectful for your orisha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's many aspects like that.
Yeah. Same. That's what I've been learning during all this time. And how would you describe? Do you still use one beating bow for the Banguela game?
Oh yes, it's still the one beating bow, two panderos. You just switch the rhythm. Okay. I was gonna say like with Banguela that the takedowns are more placed. You know, and Mestre Ninel says like Banguela is more of a floreio game. Floreado. And that means it's not like floreios in contemporânea from what I remember. Like floreios are like flips, hand spins and things like that. But jogo floreado, like when you play with someone, it's a smooth way of getting out of a situation and then counterattacking. So maybe because it's a slow rhythm, maybe I do an armada if we have like similar terminologies for movement. So like I do an armada, and you're following my armada with meia-lua de compasso, and then from there, before my leg lands from my armada, I do an au over your meia-lua,
Oh,
and while
okay.
I'm doing that au, then maybe I do like au batido to like tap you, and then go into queda de rina, and then I open a chisora, you au over my chisora. So it's like a very connected but smooth flowing game, but still like still effective, you know.
Yeah.
It's just that you can touch, but you don't need to hit.
Yeah, yeah. Or be like crazy hit and where like you just bump the other person.
Right, because it goes out of the context of the game.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's so cool. And I've seen videos of like old schools of Mestre Bimba where the person is like playing really close and all of a sudden like throws their ooh to get out of the situation like you just mentioned. That's so cool. That's so cool. And what about the Yuna? I know there was the Yuna rhythm. Didn't Mestre Bimba play Yuna too?
Yes, Mestre Bimba is credited to creating the Una rhythm.
Okay.
Based off the Una bird, but then also Mestre Bimba played the violão, like a little guitar. So
yeah,
he kind of had that rhythm on that instrument, and then later he transmitted it to berimbau. You know,
cool. I didn't know that. Cool.
And he gave that rhythm a purpose, which is you have to know the balões or the cintura desprezada, which is the sequence of throws. You know, where you throw the person, they land on their feet. So his purpose for the Una rhythm is for just the formados, just the graduated students. Why? Because also they've been training these movements for years and years, because now they're formado.
Yeah.
So they have to play the game and then randomly, spontaneously throw each other while still playing capoeira. And you don't know how you're going to get grabbed. You don't know how you're going to get thrown. So then you still have to go with it and land on your feet. And Mestre Bimba developed, because balões, or these throws, were already in capoeira. There's old footage that I've seen in Angola where certain chamadas where they do some of the balões, some certain balões. When Mestre Jogo de Dentro came to Oakland and taught a workshop, he did a certain part of it where he demonstrated some of the different throws. And they were all from the chamadas.
Okay.
You know? So cool. Like I do this chamada and you're also like behind me, you know, and we move back and forth. Then I kind of like grab here and toss you forward.
Okay.
But I think just with Regional, it's something that was refined and developed so much that it's a part of the curriculum, where in Angola, you may or may not see it. You may or may not train it, all of a few of them or none at all. But yeah, so Una, the rhythm, only for the formados.
Yeah.
You have to do the different throws. If your butt, this is a big thing in our school. Like we work on the negativa, or some schools call it negativa de bimba, because that's how we catch ourselves from receiving a rasteira for most of the takedowns, right? Because if your butt hits the floor, you have to buy a beer for everyone.
Oh man, that's so funny.
You get a fine.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So and then there's no clapping. There's no clapping.
I was about to ask you that too.
Yeah, just the berimbau and the two panderos.
And no music.
Say
no singing neither.
No singing.
Okay. Oh, cool. Interesting. Okay.
And and with Contemporânea, they borrowed this rhythm, and now it's like, in a way, like honestly speaking, it's the total opposite of how Mestre Bimba envisioned it, because with Mestre Bimba, you have to be really connected to the person because you're being grabbed and thrown.
Yeah.
Whereas like what I've seen with contemporary groups is like who can do the most acrobatic movements, but they're not really attacking.
Yeah.
Like this person is over here, this person is over here, you know.
Pretty much doing like two solos.
Yeah. And it's beautiful movements, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just not connected to what Mestre Bimba intended for it to be.
Yeah, the original Una, which would be Mestre Bimbas, of course. And you mentioned the claps, right? So I know the Palma de Tejero came from candomblé and all those like religion, samba, and all that. And do you have any knowledge of why Mestre Bimba used the 3 claps, or why he changed that to adapt?
I do not know.
Oh, okay. Don't worry.
If I don't know, I'm not gonna like do a roundabout hole and things. No,
Okay. Yeah, the only thing I know is Mestre Bimba's clap. That's the only way I know, and it's a 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then of course the difference will be Palma de Tejero.
Yeah. Even the palma that we do for Samba de Roda, even that is like very challenging, because we go like ba 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 ba, like that.
Okay.
And then try to sing on top of that, and
usually comes back to Palma de Bimba.
Yeah, exactly. You get that 3 times, and then back to 1 2 3.
It's just normal. Always comes back to Palma de Bimba, which is funny.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so Mestre Bimba never used the gunga medio viola.
No.
Interesting. That's so cool.
His term for the berimbau in general was just gunga. Not saying that it's the same gunga as the 3, but he just called it a gunga. And it had a specific sound that he wanted. And to my knowledge, that sound was kind of more connected to the tone of his voice.
Oh, wow. Cool. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
That's why like a lot of the regional berimbaus tend to be just like a little bit deeper.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. And more like how I learned is the berimbau honko, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's more like raspy sound.
Yeah.
Raspy and deeper sound.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. Wow, man, I'm learning so much right now. That's so awesome. That's so cool.
I can share a video later on. Mestre Bimba's, I want to say like a recipe for making a berimbau, because all our berimbaus are made exactly the same. They don't sound exactly the same, but the process to create them, the varnish that we use, because we don't paint. We use like this varnish because Mestre Bimba felt like if you put paint on it, then it's going to change the sound to something that he felt wouldn't have the same quality, in his opinion.
Wow.
But, yeah, so all our berimbaus like look exactly the same. They don't sound exactly the same, but like that's the regional berimbau as well. Yeah,
and he if you know, did he use biriba? Biriba.
Yeah.
Biriba. Oh, cool. Okay, cool. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
The video I have is Mestre Nenel explaining like where to get the biriba and stuff that they use. Yeah, and him actually kind of like going through the process. It's a quick video, but he's like making the berimbau. Yeah.
Look, we can exchange WhatsApp and also that way I have your contact information too. Awesome. Whenever I'm in California, I'll hit you up for sure. I will be super happy to do any of your classes sometime in the future.
Yeah, please. I'm also doing berimbau lessons.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, for the 9 rhythms in Capoeira regional. I have a few people like even on the East Coast that we practice, because Mestre Nenel was able to create a methodology of like notes and things like that to teach people how to play the rhythms.
Oh, cool.
That's played. So on one part, it's so good that, for example, with Banguela, the first half of Banguela, you can read it and then you can listen to the Mestre Bimba CD as it is now. But it's the same notes. So it'd be bom bing, bom bing, bom bing, bom bing, bom bing, bom bing, 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 bom bing, and it's the same. So cool. Yeah. You can follow along, because when I first started, it was like, oh, you just listen to the CD and play what you hear.
Try to copy that.
But there's so much but plus it's like from a record that's like before I was born. So the quality isn't good, as good to be able to like really pick up. So this really helps.
Nice. And how people can join that? So whoever is listening to this, and hopefully we can get people on board of that.
Yeah, they can they can message me. They can go to my website, Capoeira Bay Area. They can email me. My email is there. They can message me my DM in Capoeira Bay Area on Facebook.
Nice.
One
Instagram
person
as well.
Yeah, Instagram.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
Capoeira Bay Area, Facebook, Instagram.
Anywhere. You just look it up and contact him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. And are you doing it through Zoom?
Say again.
Are you doing it through Zoom? Like the video lessons through Zoom?
Oh yes, through Zoom. Yeah, it's all through Zoom. Of course, if they're like out of town. So real quick, I have.
No worries.
You can see. Don't cut the stream.
No worries. Oh man, that's so cool.
So this is like Idalina Compassada, right? So
wow, that's so cool.
I shared this. So these are the don don ding don don dee don ding.
Nice.
And then I play.
You broke it down 4 pieces.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah. So I try to do my best. My goal is for people to get more knowledge. We have more knowledge. We have more understanding. And if I can, I'll explain why it is. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. Then later on, I'll hit Messi and Nell up on WhatsApp like, hey, Messi, why?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then after that, I'll send the message to the person like, hey, you remember that question that you had I didn't know? This is what Messi and Nell says.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's our job as an instructor or professor is right. That to find the answer and not to just like make it up, and then after that we just pass the wrong information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
that's awesome.
Everyone was at a point where they didn't know what they knew now.
Exactly. Yeah. And how much people can pay you for those berimbau classes?
The berimbau classes are $30 an hour.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Do they need their own berimbau?
It will really help.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, just because if they have their own berimbau, then they can try to really absorb the cadence.
Okay.
Let alone just the intricacies of like the different notes, because you have don, you have dean, and you have the ch, but then there's like don, and then you push the dobrão against the arame, so dain, and then that's a whole nother note.
Yeah.
If they awesome. Greatly encouraged to have your own berimbau, just as long as you can make the sound and hold it, then
That's awesome. And what would be all the rhythms that you teach there? The 9 rhythms you?
Banguela.
Okay.
And then Idalina Compassada, Iuna, Santa Maria, São Bento Grande. Did I say Cavalaria? Yeah, I did.
Cavalaria? No.
No, Cavalaria?
No. Okay.
I'm thinking of it as I'm going to next one. Amazonas.
Nice, okay.
And the last one is the Uino da Capoeira Regional. So Uino da Capoeira Regional is a rhythm that Mestre Bimba liked a lot that already existed in Capoeira, but it sounds like the Apaia Laranja no Chão Chico Chico.
Okay.
Yeah. So in our school, we play that rhythm at the end of a roda, at the end of an event, just to kind of like close the event, kind of do like capoeira meditation. So just that, no singing.
So
just
cool. Yeah. Nice to start bringing the energy down, and then that's so cool, man. That's so cool. And to wrap it up, to finish the conversation, what would be a single advice for the capoeira community, just in general, whoever is listening to this right now?
I would suggest that people seek out information. Do your own research. It's great to like practice movements, but this is my personal opinion, because capoeira is the result of the African diaspora, and so many people, Black people in particular, have like suffered. I feel like it would be a disservice to the ancestry of capoeira to just use it, or just to limit it just to the movements, or just to limit it to these like, these cool songs. Like really learn the history talk to different people who are capoeira nerds who like do their, research. If you don't feel like doing it, like go to go to the store basically.
Yeah.
Because again, when you know more about something, then you have more value. And
100%.
There's been so much misinformation out there. And here you have, this is for me, when I ask people, hey, what martial art do you know of like African roots or like deep African influence? They'll be like,
yeah.
maybe capoeira will come up.
Yeah.
But capoeira it's Brazilian because it comes from that location of the world.
Yeah.
But it's the result of the African diaspora. So I feel like I'm doing a service to my ancestry. I'm doing a service to the capoeira community. I'm not trying to promote solely my own brand of capoeira, but more integrity and more knowledge of the art form in general. I was just watching this YouTube video of this Japanese guy who just like kind of reacts to other martial arts.
Oh, I think I seen the video.
Yeah, and he was just like, oh, these. He's watching a hold, and he's like, oh, I think like the reason why they use their feet so much is because the hands were tied.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you know anything about imprisonment, you can run away pretty easily if only your hands are tied. So if anything, your feet will be tied and your hands will be free to like keep you. And people don't know any better because just a lot of misinformation, like
or sometimes way too much information.
Way too much, yeah, exactly. So yeah, for example, and this last thing because I know I can go all day on it.
Don't worry.
I feel that from my research that capoeira is not or was not a fight disguised as a dance. It's a martial art of African roots. So music and dance elements permeates everything of African culture. So because of capoeira's African roots in Brazil, that's why it's very rhythmic with its attack and defense systems. Because if you think about, dance, that to disguise something to fool people or disguise it as something that has less value, that's more of a European kind of idea where the Africans would like sing to like either communicate that they're going to escape or to let out their pain. And then the European slave drivers would think that the slaves were content or that they were celebrating or that they were fine with being enslaved, where everything had some sort of purpose. Everything had some sort of deeper meaning that was beyond what the European slave drivers, I don't say slave masters, because like a master is someone of like acquired skill and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to end with that. Do the research, reach out to people who you feel like you can help you just learn more about it and want to help other people learn. I'm not the
100%.
sole proprietor of like all the knowledge, but I know what it feels like to want to know something but not have the information available. And I've done my work with my website, with the Instagram, with the YouTube channel. I try to present information that just gives people a better understanding of capoeira overall and specifically capoeira regional.
Awesome. Man, that's awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. No, I liked it. And hopefully a lot of people can have a better understanding of the purpose of Mr. Bimba of creating Capoeira Regional, right? Which you mentioned earlier, to help to have a better human being in society.
Yeah.
Which at the end, I tell this to everybody. Capoeira was created to bring people together, to bring, it's not about style like you mentioned before too. It's not about like who knows more or who does the better movement. It's about capoeira. It's about us coming together to have fun, smile, and have that swan like that jumping around when we are in the hut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, capoeira for me, like I've done other martial arts and things like that, but capoeira is like the strongest community-based art form.
That's so cool, man.
That I've seen. Like, you need the community. You need people 100%. On the instruments. You need people to contain the energy in the roda.
Yes.
You need someone to play capoeira with. So I feel like all those things combined is capoeira. You know,
100%. Yes, yes, I agree. I agree. I like it. I like it. Well, man, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you sharing all this information and bringing all this information to the Capoeira community.
my pleasure.
Thank you so much, man. Have a good day, and let's stay in touch.
Okay, Ashe.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for getting this far. Remember, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up on Facebook or YouTube. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is going to help us and help me to get bigger numbers and bigger subscribers so we can give more information. Okay, please, if you're listening, I know you're listening, I know you're watching, please give me a subscribe, give me a like. Okay, I know you're watching right here or listening. All right, have an amazing day. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening every single episode, especially the episode we just did. All right, thank you so much. Peace.